Hey everybody. So I woke up this morning, or actually the other day, and noticed a little drip under the truck. And so I took a look at it yesterday, and to my surprise, we got a new leak. This one's definitely a bit different, and this one is a crucial one. Not saying that a transmission or engine isn't a crucial one, but this is a real crucial one. So let me show you what I got. So welcome back to Papa's Custom Cars. If you've been here before, if you haven't, my name is Craig. Again, this is Papa's Custom Cars. So yesterday I was working on the 200, putting in the ignition system. My son was cleaning it out. Walked out to the truck, and for the last week or so I've been seeing a small leak, and I was thinking it's on the wheel. Oh my goodness, it's a wheel bearing. It's going to be a nightmare to fix it. But when I went out and did a little investigating, this is what I found. So let me take you out to the truck and show you what I see. So as you can see under the wheel, there is a substantial leak. A lot. So I'm thinking, oh my goodness, wheel bearings leaking or something of that nature. So I turned the wheel so I could see a little bit better. And take a look at that brake line. Definitely an issue. Now I don't know if that's because it was squirting out or something, but definitely an issue. Now this brake line runs from there all the way over to here, up on the truck itself, and it has a mounting bracket right there. And the brake line that I looked at does have all of that. It has to be ordered. It'll be, from O'Reilly's. It'll be here either the same day I order it, if it's early enough in the morning. But not sure if that's really the brake line or the actual caliper itself. But it's dripping pretty well, and that's the way to tell it's brakes or wheel cylinders. You just look down there at the bottom. You see the dripping on the tire, but also that caliper is really wet too. So it could be either the brake line or the caliper, so we need to figure out which one it is. I'm prone to think it's the brake line because it's way up here, so that tells me maybe it's leaking here and squirts up along here. Usually a brake caliper doesn't do it like that, and when the vehicle's sitting still, it usually doesn't leak out unless there's a really bad leak inside that brake caliper. And one of the things that I'm happy about it is the braking system and not the bearings, because you've got four-wheel drive and that's a lot of work to do to get to a wheel bearing, depending upon where the leak was. So at least we know where it's at, and now we need to figure out exactly what it is. So I'm going to go grab some wrenches and an impact and see if we can't figure it out. I'm going to check the brake fluid and see how much it's down. If it's down all the way, we're going to put brake fluid in it. I'm going to spray some brake clean on it. We'll put some brake fluid in it and we'll see where it's coming from. So hang on, and I'll be right back. So the first thing we need to do is get this all cleaned up. That way we can see where the leak is coming from. Don't quite know where it's coming from, but there's a lot of it. It's dripping. And we'll let that dry. Okay, so now the truck is off. I filled up the reservoir. Let's see if we've got any obvious leaks. We probably won't. This is pretty rusty, along with this. So what I'm going to do is have someone get in the truck, push that brake pedal, and see if we can see where that leak's at. So I've got somebody pushing the pedal to pressurize the system. We've topped off the brake fluid, so we're still not seeing any obvious leaks, but we have to go ahead and bleed it because there's air in the system. I don't want to pull a wheel. I think I covered my camera in brake fluid though. Yes, I did. Yeah, sure. Okay, so an update. Went out there, pressed the
brake pedal a bunch of times. Didn't want to drive it because I don't know what's wrong and I don't want to fling a bunch of brake fluid all over everything. Topped it off with brake fluid. We had to bleed it to get it to come down and get the air out. Once I bled it, I waited a little while, topped the fluid back off again, and started pumping the brake. Walked back out, didn't see anything on the surface where the bleeder's at or the hose is at or any of that. Putting my hand up underneath the caliper, there's brake fluid there. And you can tell because it has a specific smell, so it is the brake caliper. So I will be ordering a new brake caliper, and we're going to have to replace it based on what the bleeder was doing, because the bleeder didn't want to open. It wanted to actually strip with the bleeding, or with the proper wrench, I should say. It wanted to strip, so odds are that caliper is probably bad. I am only going to replace that one caliper because a pair of these things is really expensive, and that side appears to be the only one with a problem. If the other one goes out later, we can replace it too, but we definitely want to replace this side. Checking the brake pads, they're not soaked because the fluid is dripping from the bottom down. Evidently one of the seals at the very bottom is leaking, and so it's leaking out of the bottom. I didn't drive it, it just started leaking in the driveway, so it's not all over everything, I think. And hopefully it's not. If it is, I'll order brake pads. If it isn't, I won't worry about it because the pads that are on there are pretty good. So I'll take a break on this video for now, and then I'll come back after I get my calipers. It's probably going to be a minute before I get this done because I've got the 200 there, that valve cover gasket leak. I've got to go ahead and get it fixed, and some other things, but it'll probably be next week before we get to it. So with that, I'll cut this video off here, and we'll come back once we've got our parts.
Okay, so we've got to isolate what the problem is. I've already figured out what the problem was, but we want to go ahead and double check. So we're going to go ahead and pull the wheel off. I was explaining to my son that changing out the seals is really tough on these four-wheel drives. And then he reminded me that we have done an Explorer that was a four-wheel drive, and he had to do that. So he reminded me that, yeah, he's done it before, so he knows what a hassle it can be. So I'm going to go ahead and pull the caliper. That is what is leaking, and it is leaking like a sieve. So not really sure why, but we're going to go ahead and pull the caliper and try to figure it out. So as I pull the caliper off, as you can see, it is just soaked in brake fluid. Everything else looks fine. There's no massive grooves in the rotor on either side. Just that caliper is so full of fluid. So it is definitely coming out of that caliper. There's no doubt about that. And everywhere on that caliper if you look at it. And as we move through the video, you guys will see why. So we're going to go ahead and pull that caliper, and we're going to open the box from O'Reilly's and get a really cool surprise. Something I did not expect. I'm used to getting the caliper and not the entire assembly, and as you can see, it is the entire assembly. All of it, including the mounting bracket. So I thought that was a really nice surprise. So I can pull all the rusty old parts off and put all the new parts on. So we need to get the big socket and pull off the caliper mounting bracket. And I have my son come over and grab a hold of the impact and break it loose for me. And he couldn't figure out why it was so tight. And then I explained to him, we're going the wrong direction. So once he changed directions, it came off really easy. So we removed both those bolts. They had a bunch of anti-seize compound on the caliper mounting bolts, which is not really where you need it. In the pilot hole, or the mounting hole, you can put it in there, but you don't want to put it on the threads because the caliper mounting bolts need to be nice and tight on the axle, and that way it doesn't come loose. You should actually use a little drop of blue Loctite on them, and that way those bolts don't come loose. We have had in our past where we did not put the
blue Loctite on, and the caliper actually came loose, which I've never seen before. But again, you need to make sure that that you're doing that. So I went through. I was putting the new caliper on, or I should say the new mounting bracket on, because you put your mounting bracket on first. If you try to muscle that whole thing in there with the brake pads and everything, you're definitely going to fight it. So go ahead and tighten up the bolts. I did put a drop of blue Loctite on them, so they are not coming loose anytime soon. And now we're going to go ahead and put our pads on, our new pads. And as I was getting everything put together, I could not for the life of me get these pads to work right. They weren't fitting in there the way they should. And I'm going to show you here in a few minutes exactly what caused that, but definitely making sure everything's set up right, everything's fitting right. Putting in my new clips because it came with the caliper came with new hardware and everything, including the mounting bolts and the I'm sorry, not the mounting bolts, but the caliper mounting bolts came with it. So you got brand new caliper mounting bolts. The only thing it didn't come with are new the bracket mounting bolts, which we have them in from the old one. So we cleaned them up, took all that anti-seize off them. Now here's what I ran into with the pads. If you take a look at them here real quick, one of them on the end has a round notch, and the other, as you'll see in just a second, I'm going to freeze it for you guys so you guys can see it. But one of them is square, one of them is round. So that's why it wouldn't fit, is because they're supposed to be square, not round. So I picked up the completely wrong pads, so we'll address replacing those later on. So once I did that, I cleaned up the old pads, got all that. There wasn't a lot of brake fluid on because it was just pouring out of the back of the caliper, so, or I should say pouring out behind the brake shoes, so not a lot got on there, and the leak just happened, and I hadn't driven it very far, so we didn't have brake fluid saturation in the pads, thank goodness, so I was able to reuse those. And we go ahead and mount them in. And remember, when you're doing this, you need to put the brake pads on, put the top of the caliper in first, you slide it in, and then you push the bottom in, and it all goes together. I had trouble because I forgot to put a bolt on the disc, and it kept moving on me. So you definitely want to put a bolt on the disc so it holds it in place for you. So I decided to get off my knees and start using my my rolly stools. So definitely want to use that. And we're going to go ahead and install those new caliper bolts. And we did put anti-seize on the slides, which you want to do. That's where you need your anti-seize, not so much on the bolts. So there you see our new caliper all installed with the new pad, or not the new pads, but the older pads. Now, last thing we have to do is tighten everything up and torque it. So the new bolts are, instead of being the half inch like the old caliper was, the new ones are 10 millimeter bolts. Like I said, it came with brand new bolts and everything, so I was really surprised. But yeah, when it comes to price, I priced them on Amazon. They're about $45. Check my pro account at O'Reilly's. They're $45, and they have a warranty. So if I ever have a problem, I can take them back to O'Reilly's. So I wanted to take a couple minutes and show you guys the caliper and what was going on. I'll get in this bag because it's a disaster in here. This thing has still got a bunch of fluid in it. But I definitely wanted to show you guys the damage here. So hopefully you guys can see this well. But this whole side of the caliper and here are damaged. The seal is damaged. I'm not sure what would cause that, but a giant chunk. There was no damage to the pads, no damage to the rotor, just this giant chunk out of here. Here too, another chunk out of here, and these seals just torn up. I mean,
that's the reason everything was leaking as bad as it was these seals are trashed. I mean, I can just yank on them, pull on them and stuff. But yeah, giant chunk here, giant piece out of there, a big piece out of there. Don't know if this thing just fell apart or what the deal was. These I believe are aluminum, and there's another chunk out over here. So I'm not sure really what happened to this, but with no damage on the pads, no damage on the rotor, no damage on here. You know, it's just very hard to figure out what happened in here to cause this. And it is not good at all. But yeah, I wanted to show you guys that before I take them back and drop off the cores. But yeah, never seen anything like it. So put it back in the bag and take them back to O'Reilly's, and they can sell them send them back as the cores. But yeah, unknown what happened there. But yeah, I wanted you guys to see that. Definitely something out of the normal. Not surprising. I run into weird stuff all the time. So.
Okay, as I was saying, this is the first time I've ever seen a caliper do that in my lifetime. Talked to him at the auto parts store, and he said he sees it quite frequently, and it's caused by, when he talked about it, he says it's caused by a vehicle sitting for a long time and the caliper getting stuck. But based on what I've seen, I don't think that that's possible. So anybody that's ever run into this, definitely drop a comment below so we know. But I've never seen one come apart like that. Some of the composite ones, I could understand it. The new ones that are on, or the new one I put on, is a composite. Does have the composite pistons. I was very impressed with O'Reilly Auto Parts because I got the entire caliper and caliper mounting bracket and everything for like $50. And for those who know, that's a pretty darn good price. I was on Amazon looking, and I'm glad I flipped over to, now that's the pro price, but still with that, as opposed to an Amazon part, you're going to get a warranty. Whereas with an Amazon part, yeah, you may get a warranty, but you'll play heck trying to get it covered. With the O'Reilly one, I can just take that caliper to any O'Reilly's and they can look me up. Excuse me. They'll look you up either by phone number or with in my case, my pro account name, and I can exchange it for another one. Like I said, I don't remember what the warranty was on it. I didn't bring my paper in. It's in the truck. But again, it's a really, really good part. Everything fit the way it should. The only thing I did wrong was I ordered the wrong brake pads. The brake pads had the little circle in them, as you saw, and these are square. But other than that, I mean, everything went together the way it should. It cured my problem. My hope is that the other side doesn't do it, but judging from my drive in the truck, that side caliper is grabbing a little bit better than the other side, mainly because it's new. So odds are I am going to end up replacing the driver's side caliper and the brake shoes. But when I do that, I'm going to go ahead and order slotted and drilled rotors because I put them on all my cars along with upgraded pads. And that way I don't really have to, I think anything I've put the slotted and drilled rotors on, I haven't had to change pads or rotors since then. And one of them has been rolling them for more than 10 years. So that kind of tells you. But anyway, like I said, if you've had this experience before, let me know. Drop a note in the comments of what you've run into with situations like this. And with that, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Please share the video. Definitely need more subscribers. And then also click the like and share this video with everybody out there. I really appreciate it. Turn on the notifications so you get my latest content. And with that, you guys have a great week, and I will see you in the next video.